default mute. So let me know if it's back on the audio now if you're listening through another one of my channels. Anyway, yeah, general cost of living around the inner 23 wards, which is an ideal place to live in Tokyo, I would venture to guess would generally be around under 1K. I'd say $800 would be a sweet spot, which I would be hard pressed to find an apartment in Los Angeles for $800, even with roommates, even if it's, you know, a little bit like of a rundown area. Chef B, thank you for the gift. I appreciate it. But so that's something I love. I think just being able to find affordable places to live is just central to a healthy society, and that is something that definitely has been lacking in Southern California. Chef B, thank you for the ice cream. I appreciate it. Good looking out. You know, the gifts, they all go directly towards my domestic travel funds. Yo mama says hi with a ton of different emojis, all looking like positive ones, smileys, a little bit of a kissy face in there. Yo mama, hi back, hope you're doing well. Welcome to the chat. Cheers. Your keys to adventure says こんばんは、こんばんは。ねえ、いつもいつもここでもっと日本語を話したいね。できなかったら絶対忘れそう。Mane. So they said, good evening. I said, good evening. Then I said again, I want to practice more Japanese here. Otherwise, I'm going to forget. Esmers, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Says, hi, Wes. Hello back. Cheers. Hope you're having a blessed Sunday evening. That's the number one gifter, says Ren. Question number 3. You have to joust like in medieval times, dare I say. Do you take... Esmers, thank you for the paper crane. Again, it means more to me than you know. It's not forgotten. I know you're always super generous, and roses, a whole bouquet. Papa Elon too. I know you know how much I appreciate your generosity too. All of y'all, thank you. Anyway, back to the jesting scenario. Do you take a lance, a unicorn, or run for it and hope for the best? To be in full honesty, you know, I do think of these scenarios more than the average dude probably does. Run for it. I honestly think that you never know how you're gonna react. I always think in this fight or flight situation, I hope that I will run for it. You know, if I have to defend a loved one, I'd probably go for the unicorn. If it's just me and my pride on the line, I'll take the hit to my pride. I'm gonna run for the hills. I'm gonna escape a train tonight with a lance, I believe. Would anyone else? What would anyone else do? Take the lance, a unicorn, or run? The unicorn's a fun option though. If the unicorn is a battle unicorn, I might put my hands in the battle unicorn. But I don't know if I want some stranger's blood on my hands either. I don't know why this dude wants to joust me. Chef B says, what's your favorite difference between America and Japan? It's safety, hands down safety. It's not the most exciting choice, but it is just the fact that you don't have to worry so much about property damage. I don't have to be concerned about being robbed. Here, I mean, I just, even in a safe area, I would not want to leave my cell phone on a coffee table at a cafe for unlooked and unwatched for a hot 30 seconds. I hate that. I just think that's just a detriment to society in just the way that we are allowed to like treat each other. I think because there's such a safe society, you can just be friendly to strangers in a different way. You can explore and enjoy a city in a more carefree way. I think just having such a safe country does lead to so many different positive elements that are almost just a byproduct of not having to worry about being robbed. You know, and being property damage is just a low priority safety too. Violent crime obviously is the number one safety thing, and it goes a little bit into like Chef B, thank you so much. Other elements of safety, and there is like weird crime in Japan too. There's that joke that, you know, I don't know, no one's gonna steal your like wallet, but people are gonna steal your umbrellas, and like people will like steal like women's underwear from the laundry. I don't know how much of that is backed by statistics, but it is true that there is like more creepy crime in Japan, which sucks. Hey Chef, thank you so much. But anyway, generally as far as violent crime and property crime goes, it is so much more safe than Los Angeles. I love that. That is my favorite difference. I think just the island geography might be another one. I love being able... Oh, public transportation is another one. Taking a train around the city is very cool. As much as I love driving, parking in LA is not my favorite. Dixie says, do you have a cat? Thanks for asking. I do not. I had a cat my whole life growing up since I was a child. Bullseye, a beautiful animal, but disappeared when I was gone, unfortunately. Rest in peace to that animal. They had a long, fun life. I miss that cat. Used to sleep on my neck when I was, you know, sleeping. Dixie says, tell it I said pss, 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 it'll know what I mean. I will. I'll send it the message through the ether. Chef B, thank you for the ice cream and the gifts. You are so generous right now. It means a ton to me. Mad love, good looking out. Yeah, Dixie, thank you for passing on the message to my cat. Well, if my cat did reach it in Cat's Afterlives, then blessed. If not, I'll pass it on to the other cats, any other cat that I have in my life. Sir John the Third, welcome up, Virginia. Well, says, late streams. All good now, says Avi. Can we ask about jobs? If not, I understand. Yes, 100%. I'm sorry if I'm late to this comment. I'll get to that question. Yes, so I did go live later than today. I actually don't often go live on weekends just because I'm focusing on other creative endeavors. However, I wanted to today, and also I'm testing out doing some other live stream stuff here. If you look at my temporary setup, y'all want to check it out. Yeah, this is what's going on. There's a lot of chaos here, but this is how I'm using my phone to do a live camera thing. Testing that out is good, and Avi's playing a prime part in that, allowing me to know that was not able to be heard earlier. But yeah, that's my day. Chef B, thank you for the gifts again. Anyway, so yes, Avi, you are 100% allowed to ask about jobs. Any questions you got? I personally usually get a 1-year work visa that always just refreshes if I continue to do work for the same agency in Tokyo. However, that is one of the most difficult parts of working in Japan is having a company sponsor your work visa so that you are able to live there for more than 3 months. I will work there at all. Actually, even if you're there for a travel visa, it is illegal to make money during that time, and I am not going to do anything that will ever jeopardize my visa, so I'm by the book 300% all the time. You cannot say that I'm not. Chef B, thanks for more of the gifts. You are on fire tonight. Cheers. I got to take a screenshot of this. You are phenomenal. Thanks. It means a ton to me. But yeah, Avi, any sort of job questions, job-related questions that I can answer through my experience job hunting or through my experience working in Japan for, I would say at least over the past decade, at least like 4 straight years, but on and off, you know. Chef B, thank you. Chef B says, I was asking because my nephew is currently stationed there. Oh, mad respect for your nephew and their service, first of all. Let me see if I got the question. Thank you so much for your gifts. I see that numbered gifts are right there. Badge by your icon, bro. What is your favorite difference between... Oh, yeah, okay, that's the question. Great question, by the way. And mad respect. I hope your cousin is having a blast and a half. I hear that many people do very much enjoy time serving over there. And heck yeah, I hope you get to visit them sometimes. I know every time I'm there, it just means so much to have family come visit me, and I like to show them around my favorite spots, you know? Your keys to adventure. Welcome back. You absolute legend, says Wes. All of us men think about random medieval scenarios multiple times a day. I'm glad we're on the same page. It's a good way to pass the time. I think it builds character. Yeah, and the more I grow as just an individual, the more I realize that in most of these scenarios, I should probably just run away. I don't know what would happen in real life, but unless, again, I gotta defend a loved one or a cat or something, probably just gonna get out of there. Flight would be the ideal choice between fight and that. Yeah, but who knows? Who knows? I personally don't lack any training in much combat. I did do judo for a long time. Actually, no, that's a lie, and I'm actively taking kickboxing classes, but they're very much just competitive for competitive and aesthetically healthy purposes. Chef B, thank you for the roses again. And mad respect for your cousin. And thank you so much for the gifts. Cheers. Mad respect. It means more to me than you know. And it's not forgotten. I remember all your usernames and so many more of the icons y'all have than you might expect too. So I hope that's remembered. Athena says, have you traveled to other countries? Yes. Hey, thank you so much. Jeez. Okay, getting another photos of this. So in fact, for my work, I was in Australia working for around 3 months. I loved it in Sydney. And then even last year, I was in China for about 2 months. I'm going back to China actually in about 2 weeks for various purposes, but also to spend the Lunar New Year's with some of my very close friends there. I'm wild thrilled about that. And that's mainly it, to be honest, for work. However, I don't know, also Korea for work, and then with my, just as traveling a long time ago, I went around Europe. I'm actually an EU citizen through Latvia, and I've been there. That's a wild story. I don't talk about that much. I had family in Latvia, which was a small Baltic country taken over by the Soviet Union, and my family, my relatives fled. Most of them, the lucky ones, fled from that, but we did go back after the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991. And it was just wild stuff there, you know, connecting with my family's like lost legacy and lost lives of what they had in in Northern Eastern Europe. Matthew says, is there any challenges to renewing a work visa? Not so much. I think the main thing, just paperwork. Oftentimes you do have to leave the country and re-enter. Previously, I've renewed a work visa in Korea. Just because you have to go to a Japanese embassy and there's none in Japan. You can mail it and have it returned, I've heard, but I haven't had any luck with pursuing that. The main challenge, if you do well at your job and they want to continue to hire you, you will often be, you have to remember, the more expensive choice compared to a Japanese citizen, because having a visa processed will often cost more money than hiring anyone that doesn't need a visa. So you just, outperform anyone else that is competing for your job. And if you're people like you that you work for that are sponsoring your visa, usually there isn't an issue unless there are laws change. And actually, on the contrary, a lot of people are anticipating, myself included, that the visas will become more lenient towards foreigners because the dwindling workforce with people of people haven't been having kids for the past couple decades as much, and it's showing in the current workforce, which is rough. Refreshing the comments. Nexus says, why do you choose Japan compared to other places? Initially, it was because I went to Japan to study abroad initially only for 3 months for a summer semester through my school, UC Santa Cruz, and I loved it. Initially, I went there because of judo and because I liked Japanese anime and metal, but I came to love the friends there. I never really even intended to really learn the language because I thought it was a bit beyond me, to be quite honest. It was not. I really just felt so motivated. I felt so driven to keep up with the language practice and connect with the people I met there. That's the main reason, the fantastic people that I got to know there. Hey, Kaguya, thanks for the gifts. By no means does that mean that there's not like so many phenomenal people that I've met in other countries. It's just at the time when I was coming into adulthood, in university years, I think I was 20 when I first went there, is the time when I really came to know new people in a new culture in a new land that was so exciting to me. And I think travel in general does really just expand your horizons, and I think that's also a time in a lot of people's lives where if horizons are narrow, if you don't know what you're going to do with your adult life, it can be a very just anxiety-inducing feeling. So just the fact of having like open windows, open doors appear left and right when I traveled was such a enlightening experience. And that happened to be in Japan, so I continued with it. And yeah, then I spoke the language, so now it's very easy for me to continue work there because I speak the language. Chef B, thank you so much. In reality, to contradict what I just said, working in a creative field, Japan is not the best choice. There are plenty of countries in Europe that have a booming entertainment industry that I've been looking into, that my agency has even told me about. Not to mention Los Angeles is the top place to live and work in as far as getting paid better goes, as far as even opportunity goes. But I do feel creatively I'm very inspired by the media industry in Japan that I get to be a part of, and also the media industry there, the commercial film industry there. I do have a little bit more creative liberty than I've experienced even in Australia, even in Los Angeles. So that's my answer basically, but I really like it there. It's probably, you can tell by any of my videos. I don't think I've made a video yet about things I don't like in Japan. I will at some point, because they do exist there. They are wild spiders in Osaka. Not to mention Okinawa spiders are honestly the thing of nightmares, I believe. Sam Soup 1 says, ever ball out and go first class? No, I wish. First class tickets, I was talking about this in live the other day. They are at least like 3 times the cost of, most times of the flights I get in just economy. But I have gotten business class and first class a couple times just because my agency has gotten tickets for me, and they can bump it up to first class and business class just because of the mileages they have. My agency got me, it's hit and miss, my agency. Chef B, thank you for the gifts. You are an absolute legend tonight. It means much more to me than you know. I don't even know if that was grammatically correct how I just said that, but it's the truth. Anyway, I love it, of course. Business class food is amazing. I will say business class was tricky business once because they just keep bringing you champagne, and that was a wilder arrival than I anticipated. Cheers for the chilies and the GG. But yeah, first class. Also, I did hear in the chat the other day that, so I'm 6 foot tall, between 6 foot and 6'1". Here I said 6 foot. If somebody cute asks me, I'll tell them 6'1". But I hear that if you're any taller than that, just like the leg room you have is just unbearable. For me, I don't mind long flights, to be honest. It doesn't really bother me. But I hear that, you know, if you're taller a little bit, then just being like economy class, not business class, not first class, you're really packed in the seat. You really got to like get up and walk around every other hour. You got to have like compression socks and stuff. So, you know, one day I hope to be able to just like, you know, not really worry about it and drop some money on a first class flight ticket. I've enjoyed it. The food is up there. But for now, honestly, I would really always rather save the money towards another small trip or something like that. I'm quite fine with small spaces and a little bit of inconvenience if I get to do more in my life at this point, you know? Good question though. I think I appreciate that one. Nexus also says, but that's awesome though. Japan is kind of like a second home to. Yeah, I do feel that way, you know? Not to say that you know, I've actively studied the language, the culture. I really enjoy myself there, but not to say that I don't get super lost all the time. There's still so many cultural activities, especially working professionally there, that I'm so confused during. But I love it. I feel at home there. I felt that way after I got back from China to Japan. I felt like I got home and I understood stuff. My friend that has lived there since university, he got married there from England. He said it in a really good way. He said it's very much, even though I do feel homesick about England, it's such a blessing feeling home here too. Having two places you can feel at home, even though you're always gonna feel homesick about some place. Is kind of what he said, a bit more eloquently. Imagine that in like a very cool English accent, you know? Yeah. And then Chef B says, thanks for sharing your life with us, brother. Dude, thank you so much for your generosity. It means a ton to me. And that is such a motivation boost for me to sit down and edit more, to create more. Cheers. It really means a lot to me. I love it. I love connecting with everyone on here. It's really exciting to me. And I think it really does help me shape my storytelling skill set and find my own personal voice. I really love that trial and error of creating short form content and long form content, even though, it is a slap to the ego when I spend hours and hours or sometimes days on a video. It doesn't trend well or anything like that. It is what it is. I learn from it, move on. Usually the reason is because it's not that interesting of a video, and then my videos after that are more interesting. So I really is a blessing to make content for this, and I encourage anyone else, if any of y'all do traveling and stuff like that, I think it's a great way. I initially did start content creation with a plan in mind, but honestly because I wanted to remember my day-to-day in Japan more, because when I was a student I didn't make any sort of content at the time. I was an avid photographer. I loved taking photos on my phone and stuff, but time flew by. And looking back when I started making TikTok content, I remember my day-to-day so much more, because my early TikToks, if y'all have ever seen them, they're like just me walking to the store to purchase my favorite sandwiches and stuff. They're very, they're very point of view, day in the life of. But I love that. I love looking back to kind of remember my day-to-day for almost the past like 4 years. Probably more in more detail than I would have if I wasn't doing short form content. So yeah, that's enough of that. Chef B, number one gifter, says, what American comfort food do you absolutely miss? That is such a good question. There's a lot, actually. There's more than you might expect. I love food in Japan, but America has such good food all in all. We have so much influence from like so many great people from all over the world that culminate here. Some comfort food. Wow, I really enjoy my parents' barbecue. Salmon a ton, and steak. That's a go-to. It's hard to find that in Japan, even at like the American steakhouses, which are so fun because they make everything hyper American. They have like an American themed salad bar, and they have like Route 66 photos on all the walls and like Harley Davidson sculptures. Very interesting. But yeah, I miss parents' barbecue. I miss taco stands on the side of LA all the time. Chef B, cheers, thanks for the gifts. That is actually a go-to. It is very difficult for me to find like maybe Central American, Southern American food in Japan that I can find so easily in California. Not to mention 2 hours if I just drive to, Tijuana. Chef B, thank you for the gifts. I appreciate you so much. So those are two foods I miss, but there are a lot of them. This is fairly controversial. I even miss American sushi when I am in Japan sometimes. And hear me out, it is, very different. Here, sushi, instead of the seaweed wraps, they'll have like skinned cucumber, and then they'll wrap it in like thinly sliced cucumber. They'll have like jalapeno and avocado and like citrus sauce on it. It's so good. I love it. I have never seen that in Japan. It's really good, and you can get amazing sushi that's great quality in Japan for a very affordable price. But every now and then, I just love the hyper individualistic, creative flair that America throws into everything, and sometimes it's hit and miss. Like I don't know about like sushi. Sometimes they have like strange things of sushi that I don't know about. But sometimes it's hit, so that's good. How about you guys? What's a favorite American comfort meal y'all have? I'm just curious, you know. Oh hey, Flamestar says, "Oh awesome, we get to see TikTok chat." Yeah, I'm giving that a shot. Thank you for noticing, my friend. I appreciate you. Cheers, and I'm working on the balance between streaming multiple streams and you know, giving it a shot. Hopefully, y'all can hear me. Avi was a legend. Oh, gotcha. All right. Avi says, "What's the other streaming app you're on?" So I am on YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. Yes, correct. Right now, Legend Director, soon to be birthday boy says, AKA Katakana. What are we talking about here? Some Japanese learning stuff. Leo, yes, I also have a Japanese phrase book that I learned from a lot. I wrote hiragana. Heck yeah, learning hiragana and katakana is such a game changer because it comes more quickly than you might imagine. That immediately you can read anything in Japanese phonetically, which is cool. It's a power play. It feels archaically. I don't know. You feel very smart. I think when you can read hiragana, it's very cool. Doesn't matter if you can't really understand that much. I still oftentimes do not understand much, but most things like manga and a lot of novels, actually, most things that are written in kanji even will have furigana written above it, which is just tiny, tiny hiragana. But yeah, Leo and Legend Director talking about learning the language. You absolute legends. Benny says, "How were you able to get Japan work visa without starting as an English teacher?" I just applied directly for the jobs I wanted. I did speak Japanese, and that I think maybe may have been a prime factor. But it also goes with saying I don't know how much of a lateral transfer rate there is for English teachers. I have heard that a lot of English teachers do like transfer into a field that they're more passionate about, but it can be more difficult than you expect, especially because it is more time consuming than it takes. I went to a lot of job fairs in Japan. Nanka shigoto shoshoku daikai. So shoshoku is something that almost at the same time all the Japanese college students are about to graduate. They all do a process of job hunting together. During that time there are a lot of like industry specific events. I went to all the media ones I possibly could with my resume with QR codes that linked directly to my video reel and my photography portfolio. And eventually I got a couple job offers from that. I got a couple internships and just through sheer persistence, I would like to say, and speaking in Japanese, cause to be quite honest, my testing at the time was below where it should have been for getting the JLTP language certification for N2, but it worked out. And I did do some English teaching. This is besides the point. This has nothing to do with me getting a visa. I did do some English teaching internships while I was a student, and I loved it. But at the same time, I did come to realize that I don't really have a passion for teaching like some teachers do. And we all know that having a teacher that's passionate about their subject just is night and day. It can change your life with, making you choose a career, making you actually like pay attention to an important subject. And I don't think anyone should go into teaching just because they want to live in Japan. Exactly. It can be fun. It can be great, but it was not exactly my thing. I have mad respect for teaching. Chef B, thank you so much for it, but I don't have the intuitive sense for it. I think maybe the patience. I don't know what it is that so many people do, and I love that, and I see that in a lot of teachers. It wasn't. I didn't have that, so I just pursued media for with everything I had. Legend Director says, "I'm learning more Japanese on Duolingo." I know it's kind of cringe. Not at all. I know Duolingo has their haters. Including some of my friends on here, are not a fan of Duolingo. I stand by Duolingo. I think they're great. I think any app that basically keeps you coming back through video game hook dynamics to learning a language day to day, it's fine. It's key. Keep it up. Keep it going. I know people that can have a pretty solid conversation in Japanese and Spanish and a couple other languages through Duolingo. I think that's phenomenal. You can have the most well thought out study plan with the top of the line, most heavily vetted language study tools. If you don't have the discipline to keep coming to it day by day, if you don't have a maintained steady routine, then just it's not gonna work. I think the absolute best way is to take a class to learn a language with a teacher. I did that with Korean for about half a year, and I just can't speak Korean. I think everyone learns languages differently, and my top way of learning the language was immersion. It was being immersed in the language. That happened with Japanese. Did not happen with Korean. Also, other languages I've studied included. But point being, whatever works for you is golden, bro. I think that's fantastic. I have mad respect. Leo says, West, konbanwa, Leo. Nanka osoi gomen ne. I said, I'm sorry I'm being late to the messages. I'm trying to get to all of them I can. If I miss your message or comment, don't hesitate to ask twice, you know? Then, yeah, hope you're doing well, Leo. I see you talking down in the comments with a legend director about learning the language. It's so fun. I'm thinking of like ways that I could do more language study things on live or on TikTok. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Uh, Ash Ashams says I'm studying abroad in Japan for a semester starting 2 weeks from now. Any tips? I hope you're still here because yes, I have so many tips. It was so much fun for me. I studied abroad 3 times. Number one, I don't know if this is past the point in time. I always recommend people to get scholarships. That might not be your current thing. So number two is join school clubs. Now is the time if you're studying for spring semester, which I believe that was probably what you would be doing. Um, Maybe if it's in 2 weeks, maybe you'll have like a short language course before, and then the students start after spring break. During that time is when the school clubs recruit. They recruit. There'll be like the senpai out there in the streets during the festival, just trying to get you to join their clubs. I would just join all the clubs you possibly can. You can quit ones you don't vibe with, or if your schedule is too full, you can quit them. But I made such good friends in school clubs. I joined so many. I joined more than probably you were allowed to join. Tennis club, volleyball club, basketball club. Uh, Photography club. I joined an event club, which was mainly just kind of like hiking and parties. All worth it. I think you learn again the best. I think you learn Japanese the best when you're speaking with your Japanese peers, especially in like a situation where no one's gonna help you speak English. It's so much fun too. It really is. You're gonna learn cultural things. Hey, chef, thank you so much. You're gonna learn very strongly the senpai kohai culture, which is so central for working in Japan. It is key. Chef B, thank you so much for the continued gifts. And you're gonna make lifelong friends. I guarantee you that. I also joined the Kaon Club, which is like a music club. We would play performances at the school cultural festival in Doshisha. That was so much fun. I just recommend you join school clubs. And the second one, it's kind of just goes without saying. I'm sure it might even not be helpful at all, but just like push a little bit to step outside of your comfort zone, especially even if it's connecting with people through an unfamiliar language. I don't know your current Japanese language capability, but even if it's fluent, I mean, like just in a new, even if you're in a new town and the language you're fluent with, I think it's so helpful to put in a couple extra steps to connect with some strangers. You know, you can kind of get a sense if somebody has like a aesthetic pull, or you feel like somebody just has like some people sometimes just get a sense about a stranger that they're really cool. If you get that sense, just make a move and make a friend or something like that, or make like, you know, if you think someone's cute, just make a move to talk to them. I know that's advice for everything, but I made a decisive choice to do that. I think at the beginning of my exchange program, because I knew in the beginning that the time was gonna fly by more quickly than I could even like register the day by day, and it did, to be honest. And I'm super glad that I did because it was great. That's not that I didn't make a lot of embarrassing mistakes along the way, but we don't have to talk about that right now. Chef B says, "What American comfort?" Oh, I got that one. That's such a good question. Yeah, barbecue and street tacos. Legend Director says, I'm definitely going to Japan this year, but I need to go back to my home country first. Gotcha, man. That's a global lifestyle you have there, too. And I can feel that. I think I felt the same way after China, to be honest. I really felt the need. Well, you know, some family stuff, too. I really felt the need to connect with family. Well, cheers, man. It sounds like it's going to be 2024, the year of Legend Director's global travels, which is great. Chef B, #1 gifter. Thank you so much, by the way. Says, it's getting late in Arizona, brother. I'm out. I'll catch you next time. Cheers, boss. Enjoy Arizona. Stay warm and stay cool. Arizona's so much fun. I visited a friend there during school. I love that area. Have a blast, man. Rest well tonight, you know? Leo says, my Japanese phrase video do good, but I don't feel qualified enough to make them sometimes. Okay, no, I get that. People want to know more phrases or different ways of saying things also. Yeah, I get that. I feel that. I don't know what to say about that because I'm in the same boat right now. You know, my Japanese isn't perfect. I'm very confident about my conversational Japanese and my pronunciation. However, so I feel very confident about the videos I make teaching phrases and stuff. But when it comes to like being a teacher of the Japanese language, I don't think I would feel comfortable teaching somebody, to be honest. That being said, I really felt that I'm not qualified to teach English. The Japanese tests for English proficiency are insane. They ask the most like ridiculous questions about like conjugation and stuff. Things that I thought sounded normal and correct were incorrect, just like with the proper use of whom and who and things like just weird things. So it's hard. But yeah, I also think it's great to teach stuff because you learn it, you internalize it. And I mean, at the end of the day, like, you know, if it is a TikTok video, if it's a YouTube video, I think you can be pretty, I think you can just, if you're teaching somebody who, if you're inspiring someone to learn, I think that is the point. I could be wrong though, you know, feel free to argue with me on that. Krabby talking to me in Japanese. なぜ日本に移ったのか。なんか、留学した後でめっちゃ好きだった。まだアメリカに住みたくなかっただから、日本の仕事を探してた。いい、なんかメディアエージェンシーを見つけて、仕事も好きだったから、まだ日本に住みたいなと思ったから頑張ったって感じ。それだけでもビザはまだ難しいと思う。Krabby said, why do you want to go to move to Japan? I just said, well, it's hard to say. Then I just summarized, I went to school there, I loved it, so I looked for a job. They said I could get a visa, so I just did my best, is about what I said. How about you, Krabby? Why did you decide to, or is Japanese your native language, or why did you tell me something about yourself too? Benny says, thank you so much for the answers. You got it, boss. That's what I'm here for. Nexus says, do you think you will ever date in Japan, or is dating there as a foreigner hard? No, I honestly think at the end of the day, dating there is not that different than dating in Los Angeles, except for some big cultural differences, like, you know, that you have to just kind of pay attention to actively. But yeah, dating there is fun. I will actually go out on a limb and say there are more fun dates in Tokyo than there are in Los Angeles, as far as activities go, as far as like romantic places go, maybe in Japan in general. As far as just like affordable, fun, beautiful, stunning dates go, it's such a fun place to date. Dating there is a bit tricky, especially the cultural and linguistic borders, but I will say once you get past the linguistic border barriers primarily, it's really not that different. I think the biggest cultural differences would be, number one, people do in Japan dating seem to become a official couple much more quickly than they do in the States. There's less of a talking period, there's less of a dating period in general, which is a period of time I love. I think it's great to get to know somebody before you commit to each other as a, you know, as a romantic partner. In Japan, you really throw the label on it quickly, which I understand. You know, it's easier to follow rules when it's more black and white. You know, now then you know what cheating is, what cheating isn't. You know that you are exclusive. But at the same time, the flip side of that is that a lot of couples in Japan begin when the two don't know each other as well. And I've seen a lot of this from friends. This is a pretty commonly understood thing. So that leads to a lot of like shorter relationships with more like kind of flippant breakups. A lot of these breakups will be like really quickly with my friends, you know, with just very casual texting breakups, like say, this isn't really working out like I thought it would. So that's one big difference I learned. You know, there's not as many public displays of affection, which is something you definitely want to know, I think, because you could have a great date, but then if you go like in a case in front of a train station in front of a ton of people, it could just be like a big signal that you're not really trying to pay attention to what makes them comfortable, maybe. So yeah, some cultural differences, but at the end of the day, whenever I've had a long-term relationship with somebody in Japan, after you get past those differences, it's no different from anyone I've dated in LA, to be honest, or anywhere else in the world for that matter. But that's my perspective, you know. I don't think it's hard to date there, to be honest. I don't think it's, you know, specifically easy either. Benny says, thank you for the answer. You got it, my friend. Chef B says, biscuits and gravy. Okay, by far my favorite breakfast anyway. I have never, and then Sticky Sweet says brisket. Brisket is so good. I will say it is hard to find a good brisket in Japan, if not nigh impossible. I don't know if I've ever seen one. Okay, gotta screenshot that without a doubt. Yeah, no, I feel you on there, my friends. Those are two good ones. I gotta try biscuits and gravy for a breakfast, though. I gotta. Krabby says, Massachusetts からこんばんは、こんばんは、クラビいいね。なんか日本語はペラペラそう。すごいですよね。カリフォルニアから挨拶よろしく。なんか今カリフォルニアだけど普通に東京に住んでます。Then he says chicken tendies. Bro, they have chicken tenders. They have chicken tendies in Japan. It's called karage. It slaps. I believe you, chicken tenders slay, but they have them just as good, if not better, in Japan. I will have to debate this one with you. They're good though. I get you. And then Krabby said from Massachusetts, good evening. And then I said hello back from California. Then I said I'm usually in Tokyo. Legend director Tekken Leo. Yes. Also I have a Japanese phrase book. I got that one. Refreshing the comments now. Thank you all for the patience. Eric says I remember I was in Harajuku and I found a really good barbecue place. That's so cool. Harajuku also had a really good Mexican food place, but I didn't see it last time I was there. I fear it did not survive the pandemic. Harajuku, they have good stuff. They have such wild stuff always. If you remember the name of that place, Eric, let me know please, because I will be there. Athena says, how would you say it is for the work in Japan? Some people say that it's not worth the pay. So the pay in Japan is much lower than it is in the States. I mean, in California, I don't know about other places because I've never worked in other places, to be honest. Aside from like jobs that the pay still comes from LA, but the job is in like, Wisconsin and Kansas, something like that, Massachusetts. However, cost of living is much more affordable. I was talking about earlier how like my rent in Japan, God, for my rent was $300 a month for a solid place, for a pretty solid place and a pretty great part of town. Recently, my rent was more around like $700 a month. It did fluctuate because I was moving around a bit. I don't think I would be able to. I believe I would spend at least twice as much on rent in LA while not making twice as much more. So I make less in Japan, but I also spend much less primarily on rent, on transportation, on food, on everything, I would say, except for like, no, probably on everything, I think. I don't know, some things. If I drove, it'd be more expensive in Japan. But, what else is part of that question? Yeah, so a big part of the issue of work in Japan is there still is a strangely there are a lot of like archaic and pretty awful work like norms, I guess, like overwork and stuff like that. I don't think it's as much as a problem as it's made out to be in America, mainly because a lot of like videos addressing the situation blew up on like YouTube, blew up on TikTok, as they should, but it doesn't really address all work life in Japan. So I don't think it should be a blanket statement that everyone in Japan is overworked, that work life there is awful. It is a huge issue that it is not in the States due to again, to senpai koha culture, but it is being addressed by legislation and stuff like that. But back to the pay. Yeah, for media it's not as big of an issue in some creative industries, I believe. Yeah, I believe it. But I don't know. I've never worked in an office job there. A lot of my friends do. I have friends that hate it, that talk about overwork and talk about like weird things where if your manager doesn't leave the office, you shouldn't leave the office. Otherwise, it reflects poorly on you and stuff that they hate. And I would hate that too. But that's not in my job. It's not in some of my friends. A lot of my friends love their work in Tokyo, which is a infamously tricky place to work. But yeah, that's what I got on pay there. Isaac, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Says, what time is it? I'm in Southern California still. And for 2 more weeks, it's 9:30 p.m. I gotta go soon, but it's like 1 p.m. in Tokyo, I think. If my not internal clock, if my just general basic math serves to my memory, what time in Tokyo? I think it's 1:30. It is. Nope, 2:30. Shucks. Next it says, do you like someone? Yes, I do happen to actually. Thank you for asking, my friend. I appreciate you. Legend Director says, I'm definitely going to Japan this. Oh, okay, I got that one. I'm refreshing the comments. Love Yourself says, seems like it would be great to work for a foreign company in Tokyo. I get that a lot. I think so. I think it is. Because again, it is a lot of like, well, it's a vestige of past decades gone. Like the older generations would have these more stringent work ethics. And that's why there is words like, what is it? Karoshi? There's a word for like overworking to death. Karashi or something. That's boyfriend. Koroshi. Japanese word for work to death. Karashi. Karoshi? Karoshi. Yeah, exactly. So we don't have that word in English, I'm pretty sure. For good reason. Because it sucks. Because Americans won't stand for that. I hope, at least. I don't know. Then Eric says, let me see if I can find it. It's called Smokehouse. My God, you are a saint. Thank you. Okay, Eric. screenshot taken. If I can find good barbecue in Japan, because there is great steak in Japan is top tier, but it's different, just like everything else. A lot of the steak in Japan will lean towards the Japanese like Wagyu or grade A, like Kobe beef steak, which is really good. It's really rich. It's like heavily marbled A1 steak. It's served in smaller sizes. I don't know how to make it. Smaller square sizes, and it's very rich. Sometimes I like just a big smoky American steak a lot more. It's great for probably a quarter of the price. I could get a bigger steak in the States with just a big barbecue taste. It's good. And to be quite honest, the Wagyu, I love Japanese beef. It's really good, but it is so rich that if you eat too much of it, I sometimes just get very sleepy. It knocks me out or something. I don't know. It just because it's so heavily marbled. I've seen that on YouTube too. But yeah, I do miss an American steak. Okay, Athena says, and all you do is work overtime. Yeah, just to make do you believe that's true? So it is a situation. It does exist in Japan, but it's not always. It's not every company, like a lot of people do. It's not every. It might have used to be, but it's something that has been very much brought to the attention of the public at large. How unhealthy it is, especially under a global lens. The traditional Japanese work environment. So there's immense legislation to prevent like sickness from overwork, to prevent there was a lot of like, I think Japan had something like the smallest amount of women in managerial positions too, and like the first world also. So they have legislation that there's a quota now to fill like female positions within like a certain amount of managerial positions. So that's changing, and Japan still has the least amount of women in government in like any first world country. So that's being addressed. It's not being addressed as much as it probably should be. But within the same like social focuses are the focuses of like it seems like the same like past generations that are still like imprinting really just archaic old work practices onto modern work life. So it's changing, but it does exist, which sucks. And that is why I do have some friends that wants to move to Japan to work, and they left out usually after a year for 3 of them, because it sucked. Even working at a foreign company. But yeah, it's hit and miss, and that's awful, because I do think it does come down to the company. I love the quality of life I have in Tokyo, for the pay I have, but if I had to work at one of the companies that had like those very strict like rules that for like overwork and stuff like that, I don't think I would be able to handle it, because I wouldn't be able to enjoy the quality of life, probably. But that's my experience, You can talk to somebody that works at one of those companies and they'll probably tear it to shreds. Eric says, you still in Osaka or Tokyo? Right now I'm actually in America. I'm back in America visiting family for the holidays. I realized I missed so many holiday experiences with family, and they're not going to be forever. So I want to make as many holiday events with my extended family as I can, because they're fun as hell. I had a blast and a half. C-Mart says, do you like ice spice? I'm just gonna say right off the bat, I don't know what that is. I'm gonna Google it. I hope it's something PG. Ice spice. Otherwise, oh, lit. Okay. No, I haven't heard her songs, to be honest. Let's play right now. What's the song recommendation you have? Eric says, you still in? Okay, no, exactly. I'll be back in Tokyo soon though. I'm gonna go back to Beijing for 2 weeks, if not 3 weeks, and 2 weeks, and then after that, Tokyo. Amy says, share the live. Thank you, Amy. Appreciate you more than you know. Kyle says, my flight to Tokyo is also in 2 weeks from LAX. Look at us flying over the Pacific at the same time. My flight twin, Kyle. Good looking out, my friend. Love yourself. Love your name, by the way, as you know. So it seems like it would be great to work for a foreign company in Tokyo. Yes, exactly. That's what a lot of my Japanese friends say. There are issues that come with that too, as far as like integration with Japanese work culture from foreign companies, that sometimes makes it less advantageous for Japanese citizens to work for them if they don't have a citizenship of another country. But that is something I first of all don't fully understand as someone that doesn't have a Japanese citizenship, and I would love to make a video on once I do understand it more. When I'm back in Tokyo, I have several friends that I'm gonna like buy them dinner or something, and then I'm just gonna like grill them and make a documentary style like TikTok videos about like their work environments. One of my friends, for example, her job for I think almost like 7 years now, she works for a recruitment company. She recruits people for Japanese companies from all over the world. So she really has like the down low on what qualifies someone to get a work visa, what people like, because she also handles the PR for when they leave, and sorry, the HR for when they leave, and the HR for when they don't like the company and they want to transfer. So she has the down low on what people from what like countries like what work in Japan. So interesting. But she just gets so bored when I try to talk about that because it's her work. Boy's a Liar Part 2. This is Ice Spice. Okay, I have heard of Ice Spice. Cool, 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 cool. Actually, I think I know this song. I think I know it's about to get wild. Simon says Munch. Let's do it. Munch is not in the popular songs. Let's play it. Ice Spice Munch. I'm about it. I've learned more artists that I love from y'all here on TikTok than you probably would have guessed. Munch, Munch, Munch. I think I know this one, honestly. I think this might be the one I know. We will see. Eric says, can't wait. And Eric says, I'm headed out to Osaka in March for the first time. You can't wait. I can't wait for you. March, like I always say, my favorite time to travel. You're going to have a blast and a half. Cherry blossom season, my friend. That's when sakura blooms. That's when all the hanami events are, which is like festivals where you go do view the cherry blossoms and such. Um, and more than anything, it's not too cold, not too hot, and it's such a open time that people like speak to strangers because they're all like drinking and having picnics into the like late night under the cherry blossoms. So much fun. I hope you have a blast and a half. Hope you find some cherry blossom festivals. I'm sure you can. Check out hashtag like Hanami, hashtag cherry blossoms, and then like search in the area you're going to be staying in. If you're in Osaka, check out them in, where's a good place? Check out Mino. Mino Falls has a great cherry blossom viewing area. So does like, there's one more. Yodobashi, the Yodobashi River has a beautiful, beautiful cherry blossom viewings too, and you're only a 45-minute ride away from Kyoto. Kawaramachi has my favorite ones, so I hope you check that out. Hey, C-Mart, I'm liking this. I don't know if I've heard this someplace. I'm not sure where. I'm gonna add this to my recent playlist. Hey, I saw that. Thanks for the gift. I appreciate you. George, you are always well generous. I saw that the other day. Again, y'all are not forgotten. I remember all y'all being wild generous all the time. And thank you so much for 2.1 thousand likes. Absolute legends. I do have to go though, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Avi and Flamester, thank you so much too for watching me on YouTube and Twitch. You guys are absolute beasts. And cheers, I will be going live again tomorrow, a little bit earlier actually than I did today. After I post my video on climbing Mount Fuji, I climbed Mount Fuji 3 times. I'll be reviewing my favorite details. I was writing the script for that today, and I've realized there's so much I wanted to say about it, and there's so much you can, like so many different ways to climb Mount Fuji, including climbing in the closed off season. You can climb to the top of Mount Fuji, usually with a guide, because you need like, it's really expert level climbing, and it's very dangerous because it's like snow climbing, and there's no like, you know, rescue resources that are readily available. But you can climb to the top and you can snowboard all the way down. That sounds like a dream. I would love to do that. Probably. If I find out exactly how safe it is. George, just can't believe I missed the live. Hey, it's all good, man. I appreciate you. I'll be going live again tomorrow. I hope to see you then too. I'll be going live every day this week. Generally, as a rule, as a schedule, I will be going live every single weekday around the same time. I'm still kind of playing around with the time, sometimes twice a day, because I am playing around with the times when I have the best like reach with my live algorithm. But I'll be going live every single day. Y'all are absolute legends. Thank you all for the positivity, for all the interest and the topics that I am interested in as well. And more to come soon. You can mark my words. So peace, guys. Mad love from Southern California, soon to be from Beijing and Tokyo. And y'all have a great Sunday, you know? Later and goodbye. And then all you on Twitch and YouTube too. You guys are absolute legends. Thank you. I will be heading out too. I'm going to be doing some Twitch and YouTube exclusive stuff as well too. Just in case y'all were curious. Because there are some things I would really like to stream on here that I can't really stream on TikTok. I'm all excited about that. So peace, y'all. Y'all are